Hi, folks. Steve Urban here from the Riderflex podcast. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by two companies I'm deeply involved with. First up, Robo Reliance, your trusted partner for nationwide robot maintenance and repair, specializing in humanoid and autonomous robots for homes and businesses. Visit roboreliance.com to learn more. And for all your home maintenance needs, there's Cura Home Maintenance of Colorado. From air duct cleaning to dryer vent cleaning to gutter cleanouts and much more. Check them out at curahomeservices.com. And finally, don't forget about the two books we've published in the Riderflex Guide series. The first being the Riderflex Guide, Inspiring and Hiring. This one is targeted at all types of managers and supervisors, anybody that interviews and hires people. And the second one, the Riderflex Guide 2.0, Mastering Job Interviews, designated to help all levels of job candidates prepare for and ace the interview. And now for today's episode. Please subscribe and enjoy. Chase, what's the weather like in Austin today? Let's see. It's November, so it's still what, 70?
Pushing 80,
Are you
Still wearing
serious?
shorts and a t-shirt these days.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I lived in Austin from 95 to 2000. So
Okay.
federal 5-year stretch there. A little bit before it got too crazy, I think. I think it was right before it
Yeah,
got
yeah, I've
very
been here
small.
since 98, so it's definitely changed since then.
Mm. Where'd you grow up?
Houston, born and raised.
Okay. And you tell me about your family a little bit. Let's start there. Mom, dad, siblings, give me a little background.
Yeah, only child. I mean, parents, working, lower middle class. Um, they never went to college. I was the first one in my family to go to college.
All right.
So they're just hardworking people. Just making a life for themselves. But very risk averse. As I got older, I found out. So being an entrepreneur was not in their DNA, and investing was not their DNA. But that's who I ended up being. Not sure where I got all the traits from, but that's who I am.
Did you have an uncle or a grandpa, or did you have a family member that you're like, oh, I want to do that?
No, no. I mean, nobody in my family is an entrepreneur. Nobody was a business owner. Nobody around me. My parents' friends were not. I didn't really have much family, but their friends weren't either really. There's a couple that owned a business, but for the most part, I didn't really have influence from family perspective on entrepreneurship. It just didn't exist. I just was naturally attached to learning about business and read the business page, newspaper. There was no internet. Watch the news about the business section. So
How about the numbers part, the math and the numbers? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I'm not like a super math person, but if you involve it with money, I'm pretty good at it and pick it up quickly. So for me, learning accounting at the time, it was like the top 10 like career to never go away. Obviously back to my parents being safe. So yeah, I wanted international business because I love travel, but there was really nobody in Texas doing that degree at the time.
Okay.
And so I picked accounting, and then once I started like accounting 101 and balance sheet, I had figured out if I learn this properly, then I can learn how to invest in stocks and read stocks properly. So that's kind of where it started. And then taxes were very natural for me. Um, I mean, there was like one class in college they gave you, and it was like I didn't even have to read the book. I would just like listen and like pick it up very quickly
Uh,
versus other accounting subjects like audit and governmental accounting were very, challenging for me. And then just was always entrepreneurial. In college, like I would do taxes and bookkeeping on the side for people, and that's kind of how I got my legs going.
interesting. Why did you go to school in San Marcos? Did you get a scholarship?
No, uh, I'm not like a straight A student, so just like hard worker, not like a good test taker.
San Marcos
But
was the only one that would take you. They were the only one that would take you. Couldn't get into UT. I'm just giving you a hard
yeah, pretty much. I always tell people like I didn't sleep with the right people or like have enough trust fund money to get into UT. So ended up at San Marcos, who was taking anybody at the time. Luckily, there's no qualifications, but I ended up in community college. I started off at Stephen F. Austin and in college for a year. Didn't work out for me. It was too country. I'm from the city, so I ended up back to community college in Houston. Got my associate's degree with also community college, and then I always worked as a bank teller in college, so
Oh, I
put my
see.
way through, and
All right.
and then so Texas, like San Marcos was having a visit the campus day, so I went down there and I was like, I love this place. This is nice down here. Very like friendly and like
Yeah.
not stuffy,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody seemed kind of like my
Mm-hmm.
type of people, and the class size wasn't huge, so that's what ended up taking me there. They had a nice business department and accounting degree, so
Does it still feel like it just kind of sets out there by itself a little bit, San Marcos?
yeah, for the most part. I mean, I don't really go down there much anymore, but
Man,
I mean, their enrollment keeps increasing, but and they make some improvements, but still a beautiful campus there in San Marcos. Have you ever been?
I have. When I lived in Austin, I had West Texas and Central and West Texas and uh, Eastern New Mexico as a territory. So I've been all around there. Um, Man, I used to drive 100 miles an hour on some of those back roads from San Marcos to Austin. I would just drive the shit out of those roads constantly. I'd go take every back road there because they're all just straight, flat country roads. Now it started to get dusk or whatever, and the deer are so thick down there. You better, you can't go fast. But I don't know if it's still like that or not. But
No, it's too much growth these days. It's all built up now.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, all right, very good. Were you a good kid? So you're a good kid then? No, no, nothing wild in college. No, you don't have any good stories to tell me? Anything you want to
No,
confess about? Anything you want to confess about right now on the
no,
show?
I would say so. I was a pretty good kid. I mean, you
Okay.
know, typical, trustworthy CPA. I guess that's how I started in a college accountant,
They don't party much in San Marcos, so you couldn't get in too much trouble. What do they have, like one bar there? No, I'm just playing. I know it's more than
Yeah.
that. All right, so after school, then what?
Yeah, after school, I graduated the fall of Enron and Anderson, so there were zero accounting jobs to be had. And so I ended up doing odd stuff, still doing like some bookkeeping taxes on the side. Ended up getting into like taught fifth grade for 1 year, call it my year of community
Are you
service. But
serious? What?
yeah, I have
Whoa,
a
wow.
I did have a teacher certificate, generalist 5 through 8 at one point. And then
I would rather stick needles in my eyeballs.
I mean, I love the kids, but I can't do the administrative part. The whole
No.
it's too much. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Um, but it got into school district accounting. From there, led me into corporate accounting, where I was working with the controller, like $50 million corporation subsidiary here in Texas, and so it was just me and him. We would do budget forecasting, accounting. I did that for 8-ish years. And then that led me into opening my own firm, 2011. And starting it from scratch, I started buying a bookkeeping firm, and then which I would never recommend doing again. And then from there, just growing organically. It was just me, and then me and a bookkeeper. I didn't pay myself the first 2 years, and then just kind of built it up from scratch, and where it is today, 20 plus people. We work with a couple hundred clients monthly. We do several thousands of tax returns annually. And it's have a good operation going and helping clients daily, weekly, monthly with their advisory and tax planning.
Congratulations. How did you eat and pay the rent during those 2 years when you didn't pay yourself? Had you saved up a bunch of money?
I did. I had some saved. And I mean, it would pay for some expenses, but I mean, I didn't write myself like a full check, to
Okay.
pay the bills. I mean, wife at the time, was covering some of the expenses too, so the secondary income helped. But yeah, we just kind of got by, uh, waited for it to turn the corner.
Wife at the time. You on your second marriage? You married now? What's
Yeah,
what's going on?
yeah,
Second marriage.
yeah.
How many kids you got?
0.
Zero. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have to write the first wife a check to get her out of the business because she owned part of it? Any nightmare stories you want to chat about?
Nothing I want to chat about, but yes, and never again.
Do you know how many entrepreneurs I've had on this show that have had to write big checks to an ex to a spouse?
Yeah.
Woo,
A quick
some
way
of,
to lose 50% of your wealth.
yes.
And some do it multiple times. I was like, I'm not learning that lesson a second time.
So you met the new wife and she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And you're like, "Oh, I own a CPA business." And she's thinking, "Oh, cool, 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 cool. I'll marry into a business." And you're like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah. With a prenup.
Yeah, but totally. I thought, man, I got some good friends. Did you know that? All right, don't for the listeners, don't hold me to this, but I'm pretty sure in Florida, maybe some other states too, but in Florida, if you've been married for long enough, like I think it's like I don't know, maybe it's 15 or 20 years. I don't know what the rule is, but after a certain amount of time, if you get divorced, it's alimony for life.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a couple of friends on
One
that.
reason not to live there.
I got a couple of my friends on that plan. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, "So, how's that going?" He's like, "Yeah, I have to drive by. I have to see the young guy that she's banging or whatever on the living in the house that I paid for, driving my truck, and she's
Like a
cashing the
whole
check."
Tom Brady situation.
Exactly. Yeah, the gardener. Was it the gardener? No, wait, no, it was the tennis coach for Brady, right? The tennis coach.
No, it was the jujitsu instructor.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, the jujitsu. Boy, he hit the jackpot, didn't he? I mean, wow. Holy cow. Uh, okay, okay, we went down a rabbit hole there. Yeah, ex-wives. Okay, so now you got the new wife. Okay, what's she do? The new wife.
Yeah, she's in baking. So
Baking.
yeah,
Is that like you
banking,
mean
like
banking? Oh, sorry.
baking.
Bank, of course. So that's how you met her, probably.
No, but yeah, I mean, she kind of has her own deal, and does project management for banking. So
I see. All right, very good. Anything else before we get into the business, what else do we need to know about Chase? I mean, give us something good. What do you do for fun? Hobbies, anything.
yeah, hobby. I mean, I love travel. I'm a points and miles expert.
You're
So
what?
travel the world,
Hold on,
points
what?
and miles,
I don't know what that means. Oh,
like
points and
credit
miles.
cards,
All right,
points and
I see.
miles.
I
I
see.
don't pay for anything in cash. Everything's, I pay for everything on cards to get the points, but everything's paid off monthly. It's the
Ah,
key there. But yeah, traveling. I love travel. 5-star hotels, business first class, all on points. That's what I look forward to after the busy season.
I got you. So, what, October 17th, you take off and disappear for 2 months?
I would like that to be the case, but we're very busy in Q4 doing tax planning analysis and onboarding new clients for year end, trying to
I
rush
see.
getting their tax savings in before
I
December
see.
31st. So Q4 is usually a
So,
busy time of year. Normally I take vacation in the summer. Um,
okay.
Mayish, June, July, 1st of August, those are the kind of slower down periods for us. But we're here all year long because we do QuickBooks for a couple hundred clients a month. So it's an all year round business. It's not your typical one owner firm where April 15th rolls around and we're gone for 2 months and then we come back for extensions. That's not our
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. What's the coolest place you've ever been on your travel? Like, what's your number one?
That's a good question. I mean, Maui and Mykonos are always, I'm a beach person, so those are my two favorites. I mean, we've been to the Maldives, but it's just, I don't know, it's too expensive for me.
Was
But it is
was it?
beautiful to be on your own island. Definitely on a bucket list trip if you haven't done it. Um,
Yeah,
I like Bali, because I like spas. Definitely very cheap in Ubud.
I see.
And
Okay.
We went to Ibiza last year, which I really liked too, as a beach town.
All right. Business class, first class only. You're right. You know, I probably did 1,000,000 miles back in the day in my career when I was traveling. I mean, total, right? Overall. Close to it anyway. Bro, I if I never have to fly a coach seat again for the rest of my life, that'll be just fine with me.
Yeah,
I'd rather, I don't know, cut my left foot off than to sit in a coach seat for 4 hours. I mean, it's just absolutely miserable.
yeah, I did it last weekend when I came back from Philly. But as long as I get extra leg room, I mean, it's not horrible. But
I just can't
I'll
do it.
do it if I need to. But it's not always business class. Because usually international. I mean, definitely these days I can't.
No,
I can't turn right and sit there for 10 hours
no, no.
after you know what's left. I couldn't just stare at the front of the plane and be like, I want to be up there the whole time. So
Exactly. Dude, there's just nothing about flying I like. I just, the smells, I don't know. There's always going to be somebody annoying the shit out of me. That's the part that as I get older, like whoever I'm sitting by is going to annoy me. My wife's just like, okay, here we go. She knows it. As soon as we sit down, I'm like, it doesn't matter who sits by us. They're going to bother me. They're going to do something. You know what I mean? They're going to cough wrong. They're going to pick their fingers. They're going to smack their food. They're going to smell, I don't know, something. And my wife just kind of looks at me. She's looking at her watch. She's like, okay, we'll see how many minutes it takes for Steve to get annoyed. I just can't do it, man. I can't do it. Uh, okay. So you like to travel. I appreciate you sharing that. Now you're a Texas guy. No hunting, no fishing, none of that, none of this, none of the outside stuff. You're not one of those guys.
uh, I mean, my dad never really did it, so I didn't really get into it.
What did your dad do? You said he was blue collar guy, I think. What did he do?
He did route sales and delivered gas locally,
Okay.
just trucking.
Okay. Okay. All right. And now you live in Austin.
Hmm.
You like it?
Love Austin. Been here since '98.
Well, I guess you do love it because your house value. Well, of course, you had to give up your house. You had to give up one of the houses to the ex, but still, your house value
Yeah.
is good.
No,
They're nothing.
I like Austin. It's for my personality. I like laid back atmosphere. You compare it to other towns that I won't name, but it's you can go to the steakhouse in shorts and a flip flop here. Nobody looks at you differently. And that's just my kind of style. The person next to you, there's a lot of money here. Person next to you is probably a millionaire, billionaire person. Like nobody cares. You're just hanging out. It's just a cool place to be. Somebody came from the north one time. I was at an event and they came from Minnesota and they described it perfectly because they were looking for places around the country to move to and they wanted to start a business and they were like, we came here and people just help you even though they're not like involved in your business. They just want to help you. And that's pretty much what Austin is. People come here, the people are welcoming, they help you. Business community is still pretty small. And it's just a laid back town. That's what I like about it.
Do you know how to two-step?
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
I mean, you have to learn that as a child. Like you can't be texting and not two step. I don't know if that's allowed.
That's not allowed. Yeah, yeah. That's how I met my wife. And so have you gone, out a little west out there by Marble Falls? You know the area?
Hmm.
Well, if you go a little further, there's another little town. It used to be little. I don't know if it's little anymore, but just west of Marble Falls, there used to be this place called Kingsland. Anyway, there was a bar out there, was a honky tonk out there called Partners back in 96, 97. And that's where I met my wife, two-stepping on the dance floor.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
she lived in
Out in the
Burnet.
middle of nowhere. All
She lived
right.
in yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere. She lived in Burnet at the time, Burnet, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And I lived in kind of that between Marble Falls and Kingsland. And there was out in the middle of nowhere, it was just a little honky tonk. And of course, I had taken some swing slash two-step lessons because I had been divorced like you, and I was like, okay, I gotta pick up chicks faster. So let me go take some lessons. And so I took some dance lessons, and then I just started picking up girls left and right. I mean, it was easy. Anyway, that's how I met my wife that I'm married to now for 20 some years.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Okay. So you started the business, and now it's moving right along. Give us, you kind of touched on it, but just give us the elevator pitch for what your firm does, why it's special, why it's different than the others. Give us a little pitch. Go for it.
Yeah, we're kind of we're working on transforming the CPA experience. And we've always been big on proactive communication, which is why I believe we're different. My team's responding every 1 to 3 business days. Every single lead call we get is involved around poor communication, not being proactive, not getting back to them, et cetera. It's all communication. So our team has always been big on communication. I was big on communication when I did all the work myself. So I've just passed it down to my team. And then we just have, clear expectations of everyone. We're transparent on technology, like nothing's all in house where you can't see anything. So our clients, have access to all their information. Um, and we just try to make things convenient and efficient for everybody. And at the end of the day, we approach it differently. We're not just transactional. I mean, we're more trying to be business coach, you could call it, controller advisor kind of thing. So we have conversations and it just kind of naturally flows into what is going on in your business, what's going on in, whatever you have going on. Like we just kind of naturally offer advice. Just like I mentioned, the people from Minnesota moved down to Austin, they recognize that's just what we do here differently. So it's not just, we're inputting your tax return and here's the paper, sign it, goodbye. With our monthly clients who we do bookkeeping for, we're actively involved in conversation, up or down, like checking in, um, making sure they're on track for December 31st. That's a bit, the first step. What is their structure? Is it tax efficient? All of these nuances that involve business owners. At the end of the day, we just want to be the trusted CPA advisor when our clients that come to us with questions, make sure we're all on the same page. So come tax time, we're not surprised by activity they did the prior year. And just kind of be your in-house accountant, tax expert, controller, etc.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me just tell you that before you even started your speech, I wrote down the word transactional. And then you actually said the word. That is why I have fired CPAs in the past. In fact, the last guy I say fired, just stopped using. Last guy we stopped using, he's like, "Hey, why are you switching?" I'm like, "Because, bro, we talk once a year, and it's when I send you the stuff. You're not proactive. You don't call and say, how about this? How about that? By the way, don't forget to do this. Hey, heads up this, whatever. Like I'm not hearing from you. You're not, and even when I do send my shit in, there's no strategy call, there's nothing. And man, and then I found this great tax accountant, and like the first year, he probably saved us 40 grand, probably 40 grand, like the first year. And, he was just like, "Hey, you should do this, you should do that." And then, he's just very proactive, very advisory, not just transactional. And that's why I wrote that word down. So many of these CPA firms, they get comfortable because they get a book of business, they start making 250 grand a year personally for their household income. And they're like, "Okay, cool. I'm cool. I got my book of business. I'm just going to be transactional and just wait for them to bring their taxes in." Like, that's how you lose clients because somebody's going to take them like your firm. I think it's great. I think your strategy is great. Now, it's not rocket science, right? It's just communication. But so many firms don't do that. They just don't do it. They're just lazy, right? Now I'm sound like a marketing. I'm a commercial for your firm almost.
Yeah, I'm going to take this and use it. Yeah, well, to your point, that's why I started my firm because I recognize in small business anyway, you have the dichotomy of a bookkeeper, maybe in-house accountant, and
Yep,
then you have your tax person. Okay, those
that's
two
right.
people are never incentivized to talk to each other.
That's right.
And so to your point, yes, we're transactional if you just come here for taxes. We're happy to make sure we maximize your returns when we prepare taxes only, but we're not going to call you in July, how's your business going? Because we're not engaged to do that.
Yeah.
Where we add that value that I talk about is on our monthly clients. Maybe
I
you're
see.
one owner S corp. Maybe we do bookkeeping. Maybe we don't. But we're at least do a semi-formal check-in in the summer. We do Q4 formal analysis in the fall that we're doing right now. We're managing your payroll, so your S corp salary is correct based off your net profits of the business. Maybe you're maximizing retirement. Do you have kids? Are we running that, doing a Roth IRA with earned income? So all of these kind of little things. And then a larger business, obviously, like e-com is our largest vertical. We get into daily, weekly, monthly check-ins for those people doing cash flow forecasts, obviously more involved. But if we're not on the QBO side, then we don't have insight into your business going all year long. You're going to send us the same thing in January or March that you did with a prior CPA. So you've got to have some perspective there. It's not just going to be the same experience unless you're calling in to get advice when you're just doing tax only transactional work.
So I've heard different things over the years. Some people will advise you to always keep your bookkeeping and accounting separate from the firm that does your taxes. But what I hear you saying is actually it's better if it's the same firm
Yeah, I don't
because
agree with that at all. I
okay.
mean, half our clients have an in-house person because it's necessary. I mean, if your business is very detailed, job costing, whatever, like sometimes they need somebody. So half our clients have
Yeah,
an in-house person we work with
I
that
see.
codes things and gets invoices out or whatever because it's specific.
Yeah.
Half the other clients don't need an in-house person. They can just outsource it. We do all the daily accounting, reconcile monthly. But at the end of the day, for those type of clients, we're at least reconciling monthly, so we get our hands in the books. We at least know the financials are accurate that we're advising on when we do a customized dashboard showing your KPIs and showing whatever you want to see on there,
Mhm.
estimated taxes, reasonable salary, etc. But if we don't have our hands in the books, then we
Yep.
can't accurately say we're advising on the data because we don't know if it's accurate or not. We can't. So we're not auditing over here doing every transaction when we do these quarterly check-ins some people do, with, oh, just send me your financials. I mean, yeah, we could do that, but
Yeah.
it's not,
Got it.
I don't think there's a lot of value add there at
Yeah,
the end of the day.
totally. Totally. So is your target small to medium size companies?
Yeah, so small business under 50 million is our
Under
range here.
okay.
One owner S corp to
Okay.
50 million doing e-com or larger businesses, and
Okay.
then all in between.
All industries, you said so e-commerce is your specialty, but do you do everything?
It's our largest vertical, e-com, but we pretty agnostic since the beginning. We've never like hyper focused on one industry. For us, we don't do restaurants normally. We don't do construction accounting, building things because it's different accounting.
Okay.
Outside of that, for us, accounting, bookkeeping's the same in QuickBooks. Obviously class coding in your industry is a little, we try to customize it that, but at the end of the day, it's the same reconciliation. Taxes are the same for us. So for us, in a professional perspective, we don't really identify industries differently, other than some analysis and
Okay.
planning perspective, but
Okay.
maybe KPIs.
Okay.
But for the rest of it, it's all the same to us.
Did you build the firm from referrals or did you have some sales and marketing help or a mixture?
Yeah, good question. It was all organic. We've been very fortunate. All our leads come from Google organically. We in the very beginning, I was lucky to I don't know, Dave Ramsey, but he has his endorsed local providers like for each area,
I see.
and one of them is tax. And 2 months into starting the firm in 2011, they were splitting this territory. The lady was she sold her firm and retired, and so they split it by the river, north and south. So I took the south. They interviewed like 5 firms and selected us. So I had the south territory south of the river all the way to San Marcos. So that's how we got started with like some inbound leads that helped kind of help the business truck along with some tax work. But since then, it's really just been our organic Google.
Are you
We
still
try
paying?
to,
Are you still paying for that Ramsey endorsement?
yes.
Is it worth it?
Uh, it's break even annually, I think, when I analyze the data.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you sharing. Are you 100% owner? One man cap
Yeah,
table?
that's me.
One man. Your cap table's easy. You have an easy operating agreement.
Just whatever I need it to be.
Yeah, man. I like it. I like it. You don't have to ask anybody when you're making changes. I like that. Okay, very good. So the
Yeah, that's
website.
how we could be nimble, as a firm too. It's not
Mhm.
this huge 14 plus person firm that has every single opinion at the table. Like we
Yeah.
can look at technology and say this is game changing. This is going to be great for our clients, and we can move on it. We don't have to wait.
Insogna CPA, Insogna CPA.com. Right. Any other way that I want to ask you about some AI stuff, but any other way for them to get a hold of you or just go to the website?
Yeah, go to our website. I mean, certainly call our office. Somebody's picking up the phone every day. But fill out the contact form. My team member will be in touch with you ASAP, and love to have a conversation, see how we can help.
You serve people nationwide?
Yes, we do.
Okay. 512-891-8200 is phone number. Okay. Very good. Thank you for all of that, Chase. Let's talk about AI for a minute, and what it's doing to the world and how it might be affecting you or how it might affect you in the future as a business owner. Just want to get your thoughts on it. You seem like a pretty smart guy, so I'm sure you're watching things closely. I'm guessing you're not one of those guys with your head in the sand and that you are paying attention to what's going on. I'm just assuming. Um, First of all, how are you feeling about the march of AI as it relates to some of this tactical work that recruiting firms like mine do, accounting firms like yours do, tax firms like yours do? How are you feeling about it? Are you engaging it and using it? Are you worried about it? Give me a nice 30,000 foot overview comment first.
We do use it. We use ChatGPT. I think when you're doing it for marketing and advertising, it's a great tool to utilize. You can get a lot of things done quicker. When it comes to technical analysis, I wouldn't trust it, because unless you know the technical answer, you can clean up the technical answer you're looking for, but at the end of the day, we're not going to go search for tax code analysis in there and just trust what it's giving us because it's pulling from all over the internet. It could be anywhere. It doesn't give you the source. So that perspective, I think you have to be careful with. I mean, when it comes to automation, it changes every day. So I think we're on the right track. In my industry, in accounting and tax, there's some firms out there talking about automating bookkeeping, but let me just tell you, you can automate maybe 75% of it, but the other 25% still is human interaction. And I don't think it's even 75% today. It might be 50, but there's still human interaction that needs to be done with that, at least with today's technology. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to talk to, I'm a business owner. You're a business owner. We don't want to talk to a robot. We still want the human interaction as humans to advise us. Now we can use AI to build that analysis and take all different perspectives and different software and reports and put together a nice formal analysis. But to kind of get your opinion as a human, like I think we still want to have that human interaction together. So for us in that advisory role, where we're the kind of the business coach and controller advisory and talking to clients, that kind of conversation doesn't exist with AI today. So does it exist in the future? I mean, maybe we'll be talking to computers. I don't know, and we get that information just automatically. But in today's realm, utilizing AI to summarize things and take a lot of data and break it down very quickly is certainly helpful. But we're still a human business here in accounting and tax, and I think it still will be for probably the rest of my career, I'm guessing.
Okay. You use ChatGPT yourself personally?
Yes,
Okay. You're using the advanced models, the O1, the preview, all of it?
yes,
You're using the advanced voice mode, talking to the advanced voice on your phone.
I don't use the voice one. No,
Have you tried the advanced voice mode on your
I haven't
on
yet,
your?
but I'm going to try it after this call.
It's also available on your PC now, by the way. You can download it for your PC as well. Okay. All right. I think what I heard you say was yes, definitely can be used for some things. Definitely might eliminate some tactical low-level jobs, but will not replace your firms completely. That's kind of summary of what I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean, even when you look at marketing, like you know, you still have to have human think outside the box to be differently. Otherwise, if everybody's using the same tool to do the same marketing, everybody's going to have the same voice and the same answer.
Mm,
You still have to have that human, like expert, professional, like just kind of their own personal opinion, like still thinking differently on how to approach things, and then use AI to improve it.
yeah,
At least today.
gotcha. I do think creativity, I guess, is a word we can use. I do think the tactical ability of some of the large language models that will do things for you allow for more creative time in your brain to come up with ideas and things that you want to try, because you can have five ideas and have your AI agent do some tactical things and that you used to have to spend time and energy on. So I think that's a blessing. I think it's we're
Hmm.
entering into a world of creativity. I like to tell my friends, whoever has the best ideas and can ask ChatGPT the right questions is the winner.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
So that's and with my own firm, I would say my answer is close to yours. I think I'm a little more nervous than you are, but I do agree to the point where I have three recruiters right now doing the tactical work that 2 years ago I probably had 12 people doing. And do I still need several of us to talk to clients and talk to the candidates to process some stuff towards the back end? Yes. But a lot of the leg work and tactical work and grunt work up front, man, I got agents and GPTs to do all that shit for me. And so
Hmm.
it has eliminated jobs. I don't it is eliminating some jobs. Now, whether or not these people are creating different jobs yet, I think that's yet to be seen. And so I think that's a challenge for us as a society is can we pivot into new creative jobs when some of these jobs are lost? I think we will. I just think it's going to be somewhat challenging. But
Yeah, I mean, to the job point, I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, we're losing jobs," but I mean, as a society, we've always adapted to finding different jobs. I mean, even in you're old enough to remember the early 90s or late 90s and early 2000s with the internet. Everybody then was like, the internet's going to take all our jobs,
yeah,
but it just iterated into different types of jobs,
yeah, yeah.
different types of professions. And I think that's what AI will do too.
I hope you're right. I'm somewhat optimistic on that. Maybe not as optimistic as you. My fear is that I think part of the difference now is the speed, the sheer volume and speed of the change is somewhat different. Because if you go back through history and you look at, kerosene to electricity or horse and buggy to car or whatever comparison you want to use, those took time. The sheer speed of the change with AI is the disruptive part that I worry about. Do I think that we'll end up in a fine place and new jobs will be created? Yes. I'm just worried about the speed of the change and our ability to create those new jobs. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine in 1970 if you were to say, hey, by the way, there's going to be you know, website design creators or whatever jobs we're doing now. Like none of these jobs could even be dreamed of, right?
Yeah.
Or you go back to 1890 and you try to tell somebody there's going to be a software engineer. They'd be like, huh? We can't even, I don't think we can even imagine what some of the new jobs will be, to
Yeah.
your
Well, if
point.
you're worried about jobs, you can always get a trades job. Go learn a trade profession.
You got that
Uh,
right, brother. It's
because
probably a safe place to be right now.
because there, that industry is desperate for
No
any
doubt.
kind of labor, and especially specialized labor. I don't know
No
if you
doubt
watch,
about it.
I don't know if
No
you
doubt
watch
about it.
South Park, but they have a great episode recently on flipping the script on professional services and trades. And the professional service guys are the ones with the signs in front of Home Depot trying to get jobs, and the trades guys, the one with the big chains and flying the private jet. It's a
So
great
good.
parody because it's
So
true.
good.
Like
True,
there's a
bro.
ton of trades opportunities. It's just, do you want to,
Yeah.
train yourself and work for it at the end of the day.
Wasn't it? I don't know if you read the Wall Street Journal, but I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. One of the articles was, I think the header was HVAC and plumbers, the new millionaires, or something like that.
Yeah, I
You
saw
know,
that. Yeah.
and so yeah, totally. Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast and you're 18 and you think you want to go to school to be like a copywriter, nah, that's probably not a good idea. Why don't you maybe go to trade school and be a plumber? You'll be fine.
Yeah, go do HVAC.
Go do
You could
HVAC.
easily make 80 to 100,000 a year doing HVAC
Yeah,
after you get
exactly.
licensed.
Yeah, seriously, you're so right. The trade guy, so funny, bro. Well, we can wrap it up, getting closer up, but it's so funny. As a recruiter, bro, 3, 4 years ago, call it 4 years ago, software engineers, they thought they were the shit, man. They were demanding all kinds of salaries. They thought they were king. They were too good to get on the phone. They did like interview. Why do I have to interview? Just hire them. Like they just the cockiest guys on the planet. And now software engineers are like, oh shit. And the electricians and the plumbers are the ones that are walking around going, I'm king.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, I mean, then they're king because, it's an older generation doing it, and it just like accounting, they're dying and retiring daily
That's right.
in the trades business, and nobody's coming into it.
Nobody's
Nobody's
coming in.
coming in the CPA profession because they all look at it like, I don't want to work those kind of hours. I don't want to have that kind of lifestyle in the spring, doing taxes. The work-life balance. I just want 35 hours, collect a check, this kind of people I interview. But more money, more problems. So, it's like, what kind of lifestyle do you want?
It's a good point.
I wanted a better lifestyle for myself because my parents, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And, so I worked for it every day, but
Yeah.
depends
By
on
the
what you
way,
want.
you're right. I will just tell you as a recruiter, I'm sure I don't have to tell you this. Tax accountants and CPAs, yeah, they're hard to come by, bro. So
Good
we've
ones.
good ones are hard to come by. And we do searches. We're a generalist boutique firm, so we do all kinds of stuff. But every time somebody calls me and they're like, "Yeah, I got a tax accountant search for you," I'm just like, "Oh God, I don't know."
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a statistic, 90% of the profession today will either die or retire in the next decade.
why do you think
Um,
why did people stop majoring in it? What happened there? What was the cause of that?
well, I think it's just not sexy, one, and two, it's easier to be a YouTube creator and more fun than it is studying accounting and sitting behind a desk all day.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe
So
so.
it takes some mindset. I mean, that's why finding good ones are hard. For all firms, we're all searching for the same talent.
Oh, dude, yeah,
And, especially when it comes to taxes, I mean, I can't help that the IRS requires this type of nature of business. It's just is what it is. And there's a lot of taxes to be done. And they set the deadline March, April 15th. We can't control that. Like we have to get the returns out in several months. So you have to work overtime. I mean, we structure it over the year where you're not working 40 hours a week all the time, but
I see. Okay.
for us, so that's how we're different. But the nature of the tax business is what it is. It's
Yeah.
deadlines, and you have to meet them. Uh, until the IRS changes the way taxes are filed and paid, that's always going to be the case.
You let your folks work remotely sometimes or no?
Everybody here's remotely.
Well, good for you, bro. Maybe that's one of the reasons you don't have a lot of turnover. I've had two tax accountant clients, and I hope my clients aren't listening to this episode when it comes out, but they're like, no, I got to have my people in office. And I'll tell them, I'll like, John's not his name, but I'll be like, John, do you understand these tax accountants are being recruited across the country by firms that will let them work remotely, and you want to pay 10 grand under what they should be paid, and you want me to force them to come into the office? Like, bro, come on, man. And you're wondering why we can't find anybody.
Yeah, I think I have this conversation with a lot of people. I think it depends on the job role and what you're doing. I think when it's creative and sometimes technical, like coding or whatever, like you're trying to come up with something creative, I think it's definitely helpful to be in person. When it's accounting and tax, we can easily teach that remotely. And we still get together once a year and meet because people still like meeting other people, human
Sure,
beings.
sure.
So it's good to have that connection. But at the end of the day, there's no reason anybody can't do this work remotely. We were doing it before the pandemic.
So are
We
we.
had only hired in Austin, and we were doing 2 or 3 days at the office, 2 or 3 days at home. And then after the pandemic, my managers were forced to be able to learn how to train and develop people remotely. So that helped us now require or recruit nationwide for the best talent.
Good for you, and you're doing the right thing. By the way, getting together in Austin and going down to Sixth Street's fun. If you ever, you need me to participate in any of those, I'm happy to.
Yeah, at my age, I don't get down there anymore. But
Your
yeah,
age. Well, I'm 57. So they don't even let 57-year-olds down at Sixth Street, do they? Probably not.
yeah, it's not my scene these days. But
I understand.
I'm sure I know a lot of people
Uh,
have fun down there.
Chase, thank you for being on the Riderflex show. Been a pleasure having you. Congratulations on the business you have built. Really. And thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Final note: always work with a licensed CPA, and make sure your data is trusted.